Ladies and gentlemen, Clay community, welcome. Tap in. Welcome guys to another video. We are going to get a chance to talk about playmaking. You know why you clicked into this video. These are going to be us ranking and explaining to you everything when it comes to playmaking badges for NBA 2K23, specifically if you are a point guard, ball handler, hash, or secondary ball handler. I'm going to give you the badges that I think and explain to you why these are the case for the best badges that you need for your particular build. As you guys make your way on in, please do me a major favor. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It's a free way to support the video. And if you have any other suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. So we're gonna break this up into 5 different categories. S tier, which means you need to have these. Tier 1, Tier 2, useless, and then better on bronze. So again, this is for my primaries and secondaries. Let's start working through some of these things. So the first badge that we're gonna talk about is the Post Playmaker badge. Post Playmaker badge is a badge that once you are down on the block or off of an offensive rebound, when you kick the basketball back out, it gives a boost to whoever takes that shot from that initial pass. I think this is pretty self-explanatory for my primary and secondary people that unless you're running a heavy rebound, this badge is fairly useless. The only time I would see value in this badge, which I would put maybe a better for on bronze, is if you're running 2s and 3s and you're running a taller point guard build, and you can get boards like that. Other than that though, specifically on the 5s, this badge is fairly useless. The second one that we're talking about is Needle Threader. So Needle Threader is a badge that boosts your passing ability and it helps you fit the basketball in very tight windows. I need you to know this badge is not a cheap badge. In order for you to get this on a gold badge, it's 86 pass accuracy. Silver is a 70, which most of you guys that rock NBA 2K have at least a 70 pass accuracy. That gives you at least a silver Needle Threader. But for my jokers that are rocking it on gold or maybe even on Hall of Fame, the attribute discrepancy is 70 to 86 to go from silver to gold. That's 16 attribute points. But to go from gold to Hall of Fame, it's 86 to 92, which is 6 attribute points, which is crazy to think about. Needle Threader is a very helpful badge, especially considering the fact that if you are a primary or secondary, you are going to use this a lot. Your passes, especially as you're trying to get through and squeeze those passes in tight windows, fast breaks, you might see an opportunity, you catch the slip off the pick and roll. I would put this badge, which is normally a badge that'll be found in the tier 2 category, which means it takes at least 3 badge points to get it on bronze, 4 on silver, 5 on gold. You're talking 5 playmaking badges just to get this bad boy on gold. Here's the caveat. If you are a point guard that loves to pass the ball and get your teammates involved through the playmaking side like that, this is an S tier badge. I personally rock mine on silver, but even still, it's a must-have badge. This is not me advocating that you need to get this badge on Hall of Fame. This is me saying you need to run this badge, especially if your play style is more oriented towards passing first or trying to get your teammates involved through play sets, which is a big thing that I do at least. I put this on an S tier. If that's not the case, this is a good tier 1 badge. Well, this is what makes it difficult. Because NBA 2K23, you gotta learn how to play team basketball, especially with the stamina boosts the way that they are. I'm gonna put this one as an S tier badge. This is a must-have badge. Pass animations are already hard enough to get good passing animations. If your stamina is low, you're gonna be making bad passes already. You wanna do anything you can to buff your passing as much as you possibly can. Needle Threader can help that, and it's typically a tier 2 badge, which means you're talking maybe 3 or 4 badge points. The next one is Special Delivery. Special Delivery gives you a boost as the passer. To be able to successfully complete alley-oops or fancy passes will give a boost to the shooter that you're passing the ball to. This badge is helpful, especially if you're trying to grind specifically like high career mode and you're trying to spam alley-oops to help you get playmaking badges. But this is an okay badge to have whenever you're actually in the game, because when you throw alley-oops, that alley-oop finishing is already easy enough to do on 23. If you rock it, I would call this badge, it's not useless, but I would call this one a better on bronze badge. Again, this is for my people that love to pass the basketball, but even if you don't, this is a good badge to have at least on bronze. So Vice Grip, I think when people think of the badge Vice Grip, they think Vice Grip is a badge that purely helps the big men off of rebounds not get stripped. That's partially true. Vice Grip also helps in the instances of if you are getting the loose ball off of a wonky catch. This is when Vice Grip also activates. This is a badge that you'll typically get in a tier 1 or tier 2 category, which means you're either going to be spending 1 badge point for a bronze or 3 for a bronze. I don't think this is a must-have badge, primary ball handler or secondary ball handler, but I think you can get away with this to have it at least better on bronze. You can get it as a tier 1 badge. You just dump 1 badge point in it. I definitely don't think that you would be wasting your badge points. So the next one that you have is Floor General. Most people don't know this badge. I actually really rock heavy with this badge. And in most comp game scenes, if you get a team that you build your rosters in a certain way, this badge actually will help you out a lot. This badge will give you a +1 attribute in bronze, +2 with silver, so on and so forth, to your teammate, everybody that's on the floor's offensive attribute abilities. So, but most people don't run Floor General. But what's crazy is it's a tier 1 category badge, which means just to get it on Hall of Fame, you would only spend 4 badge points. But this is specifically tied to your pass accuracy. So 68 pass for silver, 79 for gold, 86 for Hall of Fame. This will be a helpful badge for you if that's what you have in mind. So you can just think in theory, if you got a guy that has like an 86 3 ball that's on your team, that's on the floor with you, and you rocked a Hall of Fame Floor General, that 86 then goes to a 93. Make sense? So I like the badge. The only thing I would do is I would put this on a tier 2 category because I don't think enough people realize the strength of this badge, nor do enough people run this collectively, because playmaking badges are already hard enough to get. But this is basically a team badge more than it is an individual badge. So I'm gonna put this one as a tier 2 badge, as your primary ball handler and as your secondary ball handler. Now let's talk about Dimer. For those of you guys who don't know, Dimer only activates in the half court set. But when Dimer is on a build that makes a pass to a shooter, when that ball is passed to them, it gives an open shooter a boost to their shot. Keep in mind, a couple caveats. Dimer only activates in the half court set, and when you pass the ball to an open shooter, it yields that open shooter a boost in their shooting ability. Dimer is a very good badge to run, especially if you are if you're the one that's passing the basketball around to your team. In addition to that, it's a very good badge to run because Dimer is typically a tier 1 category badge. Means bronze is 1 badge point, Hall of Fame is 4 badge points. In addition to that, if you have an 85 pass accuracy, that's Hall of Fame Dimer, which means you get that much more of a boost. Which, let's be honest, in 23, you can use the shooting boost with your team. If you are the primary ball handler, I would say that Dimer is an S tier badge. If you're the hash and secondary ball handler, I would call it a tier 1 badge. For the sake of this conversation, we'll make it an S tier badge. You want to run it if you can run it, because it's cheap and it's very effective for your team. If you pass that pill, you will see that activate quite a bit, especially in the half court set. So the next badge that we have is Break Starter. So I'm gonna explain to you what Break Starter is, and you should pretty much know what to think of this badge out of the first few words. The Break Starter badge activates when after getting a defensive rebound, period. If your point guard and your shooting guard are not getting defensive rebounds, this badge is useless. We don't even need to go into any more detail. This badge has nothing to it. The only time I see Break Starter maybe being helpful is 3s, 2s, maybe, but you're not like 2s, you're not really starting the break. It's just half court game. So maybe 3s, but other than that, it is a useless badge. All right, so the next badge is gonna be the ankle breaker badge. So the ankle breaking badge is a badge that will essentially make your opponent stumble or will stun them when you're doing certain step back animations, certain combos. It will increase the likelihood of them stumbling or even falling. If you don't know dribble combos like this, the likelihood of you seeing this badge activate outside of a step back is very, very, very unlikely. You could stack this badge with other badges and you can get some really cool animations. So in an instance where you take ankle breaker and you combine it with space creator and you use that for step backs or different combos, those two stack together, which if I need to make a video on stacking badges and stuff, I can make a whole video on what stacking badges means. Let me know in the comment section down below if I need to make a video on that. You could stack badges like that and this would be useful. But other than that, you're not gonna have a lot of badge points to be able to spend on like an ankle breaker. So I'm gonna put this badge as a tier 2 badge. It's not useless. I would never rock it on bronze because it's not strong enough to rock on bronze. But I'll put it as a tier 2 badge. All right, so the next one, oh, this one's gonna be so controversial. So the next badge is Bailout. So Bailout is a badge that essentially helps whether off of a jump shot animation, you can get out of that jump shot animation, pass the ball to a teammate, and the pass won't be as much of an errant pass. It's not gonna be like all over the place or like clearly an out of bounds pass. Or if you're going off of a layup, you can take that layup as you're there and spam the pass button or whatever and pass out of that, and it's not gonna be a crazy bailout pass. It also helps you whenever you're getting double teamed to not necessarily throw an errant pass as well. That's what the Bailout badge does. This is personally one of my favorite badges to have. However, unless you're taking a bunch of bad shots and you plan to use this badge numerous times throughout the game, it's a very important badge, but the most you really need it on is bronze. Bailout on bronze, that's normally a tier 2 badge category, which means you're gonna be spending at least 3 badge points on this thing. Hear me when I say this, it will be the best 3 badge points you spend, bar none. So the next badge we're gonna talk about is Hyperdrive. Okay, so Hyperdrive is a badge that essentially helps It increases your speed when you're going downhill and you're attacking the rim. So if you have a point guard or a hash build that has dunking on it, mind you, if you have a build that has 0 finishing on it, this is going to be the most useless badge for you. But if you have finishing on it and you're attacking downhill, this is a very important badge to have. I wouldn't call this an S tier badge, but I would put this as a tier 1 badge because it's definitely something, if you could put it on gold or Hall of Fame, you want it at, whether you're the point guard or whether you're the hash. But I personally think that there are other badges that are more important. And I will say this, I know I have Dimer up here on the S tier. I'm actually gonna bump that Dimer down to a tier 1 as well. I think there are other badges that are a little bit more important. Next one is Quick First Step. This badge typically comes in the form of a tier 2 badge, which means you don't have to spend 10 badge points in order to even access it. And all it takes in NBA 2K23, all it takes is an 88 ball handle, which means 6'8" PGs can get this. 88 ball handle, and you can get a Hall of Fame Quick First Step. You don't know what Quick First Step is. This essentially helps whenever you're driving out of the triple threat or after a size up, ball handlers have access to a quicker and more effective launches as they move out of those animations. The Quick First Step is a clear S tier badge. If you are not rocking this on Hall of Fame as a primary ball handler or as a hash, you are missing out. That is a clear S tier badge. The next one is going to be very controversial because I need you guys, as you hear me when I say this for Unpluckable, I need you to get your mindset of NBA 2K22 out and understand that this is a very different game. Unpluckable is a badge that essentially helps prevent the defenders from reaching and stealing the basketball away from you. Here's the thing, in NBA 2K23, defense and steals in particular, on-ball steals, are buffed, which means if you run Unpluckable on gold, I believe actually NBA 2K Labs had the statistics of something to the extent of, if you run a gold Unpluckable and you have somebody that's defending you with the Hall of Fame glove badge, then they still have, I believe it's like a 12% chance of being able to rip the basketball from you. That's a high percentage still. And in order for you to even access a Hall of Fame Unpluckable, you need a 95 ball handle. And even then, that still doesn't guarantee that you won't get ripped. Most people who run this badge run it on gold if you're a PG or if you're a secondary, but it's going to be a tier 3 category badge regardless of what it is that you're running, whether you're a 5'11" or whether you're a 6'8", which means just to get access to it, you need 15 badge points, 10 to spend in the first 2 categories, and then 5 just to get bronze on Unpluckable. Because it's so expensive, and because if you played this game for the last couple of weeks, you know it can be spotty at times. I would put this as an S tier badge, but I'm measuring both the cost of this badge and the effectiveness of this badge, and I'm putting these two things together. This is a must-have badge, but it is not as effective as some of the other badges are. You have to have it. You're obliged to have this badge. And to be honest with you, the best way to not get the basketball stripped is to do one of 2 things. Pass the basketball sooner. Gotta have teammates that you trust to pass the basketball sooner to. Or to be able to have the dribble combos to be able to snatch the ball away in the instances where you see the spam squares coming. So as a result, I'm gonna put this badge, Unpluckable, as a tier 1 badge. Next badge we're gonna talk about is the mismatch badge. The mismatch badge allows you the ability to beat your defender on a one-on-one when you have I believe it's a 4-inch difference between your player and then the player that's taller than you. I personally don't use this badge very often, largely because I have a 6'8" point guard, but I also largely don't have the badge points to be able to spend on something like this. And on top of that, this badge is very expensive. 86 ball handle just to get a silver, 93 to get a gold, 98 to get it on Hall of Fame. I'm not calling this useless. I'm not calling this one a tier 2 badge, but this may be a badge that's just better on bronze because there are no requirements when it comes to ball handling, and it's typically a tier 1 badge on top of that, which means you can access it off the rip. You could rock it on bronze if you have an extra playmaking badge to use. Okay, so the next badge that we're gonna have is called Killer Combos. Killer Combos is the combination of tight handles and quick chains from NBA 2K22. Very helpful to be able to put together combos and stuff, string them together, and to be able to get moves off. This is a very helpful badge. I would call this badge S tier badge. This is a badge that you definitely want to have. It's a tier 3 badge, which means it's going to be a very expensive badge for you to be able to use, but you will immediately see the difference once you equip this badge. The next one, Handles for Days. Handles for Days is a must-needed badge, and it's a very expensive badge. It's typically a tier 3 badge. It means at minimum you're spending 5 badge points just to activate that after you spent 10. It's 85 ball handle to get it on silver, 94 to get it on gold, and 99 on ball handle to get it for Hall of Fame. But I rock mine personally on a silver, and I think that it runs very, very well. You need that Handles for Days because after you get done trying to get the combos off to get your shot off or whatever, if you're low on stamina, that will kill your ability to make an effective jump shot. That is an S tier badge in my opinion. And then finally, it is the new badge that has been brought out, Clamp Breakers. I want to read this to you very specifically because I need you to know exactly what it's about. It improves the ability for a player to fight off contact, to protect the ball, and to drive by opponents as the ball handler, which means this badge activates whenever you are getting bumpy with the defender, you're trying to protect the ball, or when you're trying to drive by the ball handler. So as a result, I would go so far as to say that Clamp Breaker is an S tier badge. For those of you who run against some really good locks, they're really bumpy, trying to figure out a way to like get some separation between the two of them, Clamp Breaker will be your equalizer. And this is what we got. This will give us a final listing of an S tier badges that have Needle Threader, Quick First Step, Killer Combos, Handles for Days, and Clamp Breaker. Tier 1 as a Hyperdrive, Dimer, and Unpluckable. Tier 2, Floor General, Ankle Breaker. Useless is your Post Playmaker and Break Starter. And then better on bronze will be your Bailout, Special Delivery, Vice Grip, and your Mismatch Expert. These will be the badges that I would recommend. Hope this was helpful for you guys. If you guys want to see more of this kind of content and stay tapped in with everything NBA 2K20 related, make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button, and please hit the sub button and be plugged in with all that we have going on. I appreciate y'all for all the love and the support. Let me know if you're new down below, where you're from, who's your favorite team, what other videos should we do next that would be helpful guys in NBA 2K23. It's your boy Coach Clay. I appreciate y'all pulling up. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all take it easy, man. Peace.